Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah!
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up? True Heel Heat.
Hey guys, it's Stan Rosa and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW Resurgence 2025 review, discussing this past Friday show from Ontario, California, New Japan Pro Wrestling back in the US of A for another New Japan Strong show. And yes, we have some new champions. We got a lot to discuss, and we're probably going to get into some debates based on what we did before we went live here. But of course, to do that, of course, I am joined by my esteemed colleagues, the NJPW Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions of talking all things New Japan Pro Wrestling. First up, we got the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, J News.
Well, it's been the weekend. It's been quite the weekend for New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of events, a lot of wrestling going down starting on Friday for those of us here in the U.S. starting on Friday. So, yeah, welcome, folks. We're going to break this all down. We're going to have some healthy debate. Everyone's going to get a turn to talk. and it's going to be a fun time.
And of course, we got the most positive fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling in the land. It is her life. It is Sonal's life. Sonal, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I did get up at 3 a.m. to watch the New Japan show. But you know what? It was low-key worth it. So yeah, we're gonna get into that and yeah, go on a slight debate that started before. We'll see who's right, who's wrong.
Hey, I don't blame you at all, because you know I said my plan when we did the preview that I was gonna watch SmackDown and then turn on the New Japan show at the start. They actually made they made me turn it on early for the pre-show, because as soon as I was like, Bea Priestley's back. What the hell? I was like, it's the main card hasn't even started yet. So I turned it on early, and I stayed up until like 5 a.m. because I was into everything that was going on, and I think I saved the double main event for when I woke up. After I watched Best of Super Junior. So yeah, they had me hooked. So I don't blame you for staying up the whole time. But yes, we got a lot to discuss. We're going to discuss all things New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence, all things New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on NJPW Resurgence 2025. What did you think about the returns? What did you think about the title changes, the double main event, and everything in between? Let us know. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel and our continued coverage of New Japan Pro Wrestling, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support, like what we get from Vala. Thank you so much, Vala, for the support. He says, in honor of that main event win, I got some sushi. I feel like Zack is only left out of Dominion because he might be the plan for Forbidden Door win. Interesting. That would be very interesting. I mean, that could be a contender after the result that we saw on Friday night from Resurgence. So that is a good idea. I know there was some debate if they were going to do a 3-way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but I am glad they went in the route of Shingo gets whoever comes out as champion instead of facing the winner. We do have I Make Beats, one of the members of our channel. Thank you so much, I Make Beats. He says, sup, YouTube fam. Hope all having a good Monday out there. Stoked to get into this show again after the flagship on Saturday. Yes, sir. Indeed. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for joining us today. Valop also saying, I know people want to see Goto versus Shibata, but I feel like New Japan might still be blocking that. I mean, yeah, if Goto's the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, give me Goto versus Shibata, please, for the title. Wouldn't you want that, Sonal, since Forbidden Door is in your backyard?
Like, as someone who loves storytelling and loves history, that just to have Shibata and Goto face for the title would just be so meaningful. Like, I guess in an ideal world, you'd want to do it in Japan, you know, the place where they're both from. But obviously, we know New Japan are very reluctant to really give Shibata anything more than 5 minutes, whereas AEW are a bit more, well, they're basically letting him do whatever he wants, win titles, have long matches. So realistically, the only time kind of place that would work is a Forbidden Door. And if it's in the UK, I won't say no. I will be very happy to see that.
Indeed. I'm with you there. And I do agree with Valop here. Oh my God, I felt like Jay News watching this show. This show was probably the worst. This was the worst of the worst. Like, I understand Jay News always complains about the New Japan of America shows, but I will say, Jay, I felt like you. I was like, oh my God, this is horribly mic'd. You can barely hear the crowd. You can barely hear Veda Scott.
No.
Did they give Veda Scott a microphone?
No, you said that you couldn't hear the crowd. You could hear, so like at some point you could hear really loud talking from the crowd. And God bless that one Mercedes Mone fan during her match. I had headphones on at like 5:30 in the morning. I thought I was getting a headache. So while they did mic up the audience, but it was just done really badly. So like during entrances, I could hear guys having really random conversations.
This was, and the lighting sucked. You could barely see the crowd. They're in a big arena, but you could barely see anything. J News, let it all out. You usually are the one who criticized them for it, so you can let it out now.
You know, it's interesting because I feel like I've been the only one since New Japan of America stuff has started that's complained about this constantly. And then I turn on, or should I say, I open up the cesspool that is Twitter and the IWC. And all of a sudden, I see people complaining about the production. And I was like, oh, it's just today? Today was the worst day? Y'all ain't been watching this shit. Y'all ain't even been to the gym with this shit. This is bullshit.
You felt both vindicated, yet still annoyed because people are just noticing it now.
What like we hold all these different companies outside of professional wrestling and things of that nature to certain standards and shit like that. All I ask New Japan to do when they come to the US, give us the same level of production that you have over in Japan here in America. But no. They don't do that at all. They have open mics. They have Walker sitting there with Veda, and they're picking up background noise the entire time. I understand. Like Sonal was saying about the young lady, the Mercedes fan, how excited she was. I know she's a young lady and all that stuff and whatnot. And it was probably her first. I think I saw a post of hers come up on my feed saying this is the first time she ever saw Mercedes live. And I was like, that's great. That's tremendous. You know what I'm saying? But at the time that the show was going down, I could not stand it. I'm sorry. I am just sorry about that, young lady. And look, listen, I want you to continue to be a fan of professional wrestling, Mercedes Mone, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. But God damn it, that high-pitched squealing can't fucking exist. I'm sorry. You just can't go down that route. Secondarily.
Sorry, just quickly, Jane. But the funny thing is that screaming, it felt like a music concert, not a wrestling show.
It sounded like watching a concert for BTS. That's what it sounded like, man. That's what it sounded like.
I've been to K-pop concerts, and that is the noises I make at a concert.
It's like I didn't know that Mercedes Mone was such an icon to that extent. You know what I'm saying? Secondarily, I want to say this. I want to say this. And I'll say this shit till the cows come home. Right? This lighting situation, I have no idea what's going on. Like the place wasn't empty. It was not empty. Why would you dim the lights in such a way and like take away from people's entrances? I don't get it. I don't get it. And then listening to the random conversations of people in the background, it's like we have mute buttons for a reason. Like you guys are pros. Like what's going on, man? You know, like I don't get it. I just don't get it. So, for the time being, Rocky Romero, you slick hair bastard, I need you to get on the phone with Bushiroad and get something going where this with these levels of production for these New Japan of USA shows get better. Because that was an atrocity. I can't, man. I can't. And then the fumbling of the cameras at time when it came to editing and switches. Like, come on, man. Hire some pros. Like, what the hell's going on, bro? What is going on?
It was really, really bad. It was really, really bad. Ninja Mortis says, Sonal, my second favorite THH host. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I hope I'm the first. But he did He did show. He said, "Big love to Harlem's dad, SP3. My goal in life is to be known as Harlem's dad when I grow when she takes over this channel and makes it about like probably talking Tom Shorts."
That's that's all it's about. What was I gonna say? I was reading comments here on the side. So
I love this one from I Make Beats, who said, "You got WWE big production, lackluster matches, then NJPW strong is the other way around."
Absolutely.
But it almost feels like that's what I just expect from these New Japan US shows. Like, what you do is you watch an amazing Best of Super Junior, you see it all amazing, then you watch the US and you're like, well, the matches are still the great quality, but like I never expect like amazing quality now. I'm like, well, it's probably going to be a bit shitty. The audio is going to be but I think the last show the sound was extra annoying because it was so early in the morning. I was like, I don't need all this at like 4:30 in the morning.
That's the thing. Like for all intents and purposes, like when you're at a show, you can block it out. But like when you're watching on TV and stuff like that, it's just something different, And like I said, I don't have anything against the young lady. She was having the time of her life. It's just that the way their mics were set up, the feedback, it was so hype. I couldn't, Bob said that he disagrees with me because if there's no squealing, this ain't just wrestling. I disagree with that. I've been to plenty of wrestling show in my day. There's not much squealing at wrestling shows, sir.
I think what it is with squealing, I think you can do it on the entrance. I think the problem, and I appreciate it. It was the squealing during the match, especially in the beginning bits. Like scream on the entrances for all intents and purposes. That's fine. Like yeah. But I think once the match, it then just becomes a bit awkward because you're trying to hear the bumps and everything going on inside the ring. But then all you can hear is this fan. And like a lot of people have said that. Like, don't complain. Wrestling matches need to be screaming. To be fair, I'm the same at concerts. I understand screaming, but when it's incessive and so high pitched all the time.
And mind you, like it's and this has less to do with the girl and more to do with the production part of it. I think she was far. She wasn't even that close to Walker and Beta, and it was all the mics were picking it up. So I'm like, who's on the boards here? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Is at least I would have felt different if it was to be like that faint squealing that you hear on a regular wrestling show, like regular TV. But it was in the microphones, and I was like, "What's going on? Who's in charge of the soundboards here?"
I also think we're not it's not the young ladies' fault. We're actually not thinking. It's just generally because even I'll complain about these guys who you could just hear in the entrances just talking really loudly rubbish. Like we just said the young lady because obviously the squealing was quite prominent and quite like different from what we've seen. But yeah, even these guys who were talking really loud. Sounds like they were at the pub or something chatting, but like it was during the entrances. It's as Jane, you said, this is not anything to do with the people themselves. It's just we're using that as like an issue with the production because they should be able to sort it out.
And I'm there like, are people not listening to the feed? Were they not like who is manning the boards? At the end of the day, that's my issue. It's got nothing to do with the fans individually. At the end of the day, nah, man, people can make as much noise as they want. They pay to get their tickets. They do what they can. But there is a production side of the show where the fans at home don't pick that up. At the end of the day.
Yeah, there is a way to do that.
The squealing, I think Jay News might have mentioned it before. When you're there in person, the loud shouts and stuff, you can just ignore that.
Yeah,
you're so focused on it. But when you're at home like us, and obviously the sound is amplified, especially when you hear the squealing or the speaking. And obviously, for example, if you're like me and you have your headphones on, it's like surround. You can't block it out because that's all. There's nothing else to focus your attention on because it's that sound that's being like exploded into your ears.
And mind you, at the beginning of the show, it was the first time I thought to myself from an audio standpoint, it was like, oh, they might Walker and Beta correctly because their voices were prominent and you can hear the buzz of the crowd. But it was like they finally got the audio right, and then for whatever reason, from one match to the next, it all went to hell. And
there's the I think it was like it was always during the entrance. It was like Veda's mic, like they put the volume down on Veda's mic and then raised it for the entrance music. It was crazy.
But they also raised it for some of the crowd because I can hear some guy talking while they're walking through.
Yeah, man. It's something
Where's
happened
Hey
between
Vader?
matches. It was like, what is going on, man? Why is this sounding like this? And then on top of everything else, like the darkness of the lights and stuff, man. And I'm there like, damn, Bea Priestley's return was a non-contendere at this point. Like, like, did they see her come out the freaking curtain? Did they see her? I was like, I barely did. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Also, I
they
saw
dim the lights so much.
someone said, I bet it was Gato. We blame Gato for a lot of things, but I don't think we can specifically
we
only blame Gato for this.
We can't blame.
We'll
Gator.
blame Rocky too. We'll blame Rocky.
Yeah,
New
blame
Japan
Rocky.
of USA. Yeah, it's fine. But it wasn't the only show from New Japan Pro Wrestling over the weekend. We did see the start of the Best of Super Juniors tournament. And Sonal, any thoughts on the first two nights? I think there's the match that you really enjoyed that I didn't.
No, right. To say I really right. There's context. I'm going to speak about all the other matches first, and then I'll speak about what we had a very heated debate before this live start. I always look forward to the Best of Super Junior, and the first two nights delivered. Like, I tend to have like a list, and I write down like what my favorite matches are, just so when I do a review, I can come back to it and I can just be like, well, these are the matches you should watch. There was not a single match across like the blocks that wasn't good, and that's saying something because both Sho and Kanemaru had a match. Okay, sure. And I think commentary mentioned it. So Kevin and Chris mentioned that it might have been the cleanest matches they've had in a very long time. Yeah. I'm not saying it was a wrestling masterpiece, but the fact that I think Sho went for a belt and like his I can't remember the name of it. His like weapon, and then Kanemaru went for his whiskey once, but and their opponents got a win. I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a great tournament. And obviously, leading on for that, we'll talk about the controversy. I enjoyed a lot of matches. Ninja Mortis, yes, I did like Robbie versus Yo. The one that, and I did like Ninja Mac. Ninja Mac's viral moment.
Yo, Ninja Mac and Robbie X delivered what was promised. Flips, people. And we got a viral moment. Shout out to two people that we've interviewed on this channel this year. Ninja Mac and Robbie X giving us the most viral moment of the Best of Super Juniors in the first weekend.
Like, that's what we wanted. We always said, like, the Best of Super Junior is great because there's so much variety. However, we were looking forward to Robbie versus Ninja. I think we both said that was one we were looking forward to, just because they are pure flippers. And you know what? Some people ain't gonna like it. I didn't look at the comments. I can assume some people will call it flippy dippy shit. But holy God, that was phenomenal. And if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, it's like when before they posted the video, and I was like, oh my God, and I was like, without context, it's funny. Basically, Ninja Mac was trying to get Robbie, did backflip. Robbie started running down the alleyway. So then Ninja Mac jumped over the ring and then just carried on and flipped right to the end.
It was so smooth. There wasn't even a break. Like, he literally lands on his feet out the ring and then just keeps flipping until he finally hits a Pele kick. It's one of the crazy. Will Ospreay has commented on this. Freaking Dave Meltzer said that was incredible. Like, it's one of the best spots that I've seen. It's probably the most probably viral style new Best of Super Juniors moment since Ospreay and Ricochet.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And I was like, it's 2016 all over again, and we're going to have the big wrestling divide continue between flippy shit and what's actually wrestling and what's not, and all this crazy shit. And we're taking away from the Mac. Ninja Mac deserves all the praise. You have to be crazily athletically gifted to do what he did in that moment. Shouts to Robbie X2 for putting on a hell of a match with Ninja Mac. Because
people are not talking about the finish enough. The finish is fucking awesome. Robbie X does a flip and he caught him with a fucking Trouble in Paradise kick and then just pins him like that. Oh my God. I was like, people are not talking about this finish enough. They're talking about the flips, but the finish was awesome too.
From start to end, it was because I think it was the first league match on that day, and I was like, dude, that set a precedent. That is set a precedent.
Yes.
Greg Carter here saying, how did he even think he could do that? Actually, Ninja Mac's been posting a lot of what his previous career online and on Twitter. He is literally a former gymnast turned professional wrestler.
And we talked about it in our interview that he used to work for Cirque du Soleil.
Mm-hmm. So, he's not Reggie wasn't the first one. You know what I'm saying? Ninja Mac's the first one. He's out here doing all this shit. Yeah, man. Shouts to Mac. Shouts to Robbie X for creating another viral moment for New Japan and the Best of Super Juniors, because they need it, man. They need the buzz again. So why not this moment? Why not have people tune in to see if there's going to be more crazy flippy shit going down at the Best of Super Juniors?
So that was my favorite match of night 2, but your favorite match was a different match, wasn't it, Sonal?
It wasn't my favorite match. I've said this, right? You're over pushing it, okay? It wasn't my favorite match. I no, because I literally said to him, I said, in the context of all of the matches of the weekend, it wasn't my favorite match. It's just, if you look at the context of the wrestlers, it was. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's Taguchi versus Ishimori. Okay? I'm not saying it was a wrestling masterpiece. Okay? I'm not saying it was even the best of the night. It definitely was not the best of the weekend. However, what I am saying is that Taguchi, he always does this. He gets announced for a tournament and everyone starts complaining. They're like, he doesn't belong there. And understandable, because if you only watch bits and pieces of New Japan, like the opening tag matches, Taguchi is mainly just using his ass. So understandable. However, the reason I liked it was this was 2 Sendai guys. So the show was in Miyagi. I got a bit of Sendai Sailor Boys. And it was showcasing that both guys were amazing wrestlers. Like, they're very good wrestlers still at the average age is 44. Because Taguchi is 46 and Ishimori is 42. So don't twist my word. I'm not saying it was my favorite. I'm just saying I really enjoyed that New Japan are still giving 2 of the veterans in the block a chance to shine in the main event. And the crowds were hot for it.
They were. I said it was a fun final stretch of that matchup. Otherwise, a fun final stretch to an otherwise solid main event matchup. And I seen people on social media say it was unbelievable. It was an unreal performance from Taguchi. And I'm just like, what did I watch? And what did y'all watch? Like, I am not, see, you're going to make me go into a whole rant. I am sick of this old people tax that we're giving people.
It's
just because someone's old.
It's ass tax.
No. It's a fucking old people tax that freaking wrestling fans give. If an old person has a good match, we elevate it to an incredible matchup. And I'm sick of this crap.
No,
old people deserve to be judged as a wrestling match. As a wrestling match, it's a fine wrestling match. I had people telling me, "Oh man, you're underrating it. Oh man, I disagree. This had strong psychology and it had all this stuff." And I'm just like, yeah, okay. It had some sloppy spots too. Had some clunky moments too. Like when he throws him into the steel ring post and he doesn't hit the ring post, but he still sells it like he hit the ring post. Like, I'm like, no, it's just fine. It was fine. It had a fun final stretch.
No, for me, it wasn't an age thing because, like I said, I've been hyping up shows match. I just think it's the context of, like, Taguchi is known for just using his ass and being funny, and I liked it. And I mentioned this on the preview. I have a soft spot for the bond between Taguchi and Ishimori because it's very funny. That's why I did it. Like, mine, you guys always know that when I speak about favorite matches, when I pick any picks, everything goes from my heart, and I like longevity storytelling. And the interaction between Ishimori and Taguchi have been going on for years. And that's why I added it. I'm not saying it was the best wrestling match. It was probably on the lower end of all the matches. But I'm just saying that I like everything together.
Yeah, I give it 3.5 stars. It was
that's fine. Like, I don't think that. Like that's not, like, I wouldn't probably give it any higher there. I'm just saying, like, as a Taguchi fan and a Nishimori fan and, like, a fan of the whole Sendai thing, that's why I liked it. Janice, what did you think? You didn't watch it, did you?
I did not get to watch all of it.
Just watching me and SP3 arguing.
At the end of the day, I don't have a horse in this race. I enjoyed the hell out of night 1. It was way better than I thought it would be. Shouts.
I thought Despy and Teton was the best match of the weekend from Best of Super Juniors.
I thought the Akira match was actually the best of the weekend for me.
That was damn good as well.
So those super they started off strong. So we'll see how it all goes going forward.
Yes, we will continue to talk some Best of Super Junior as the weeks go on, and of course, we will be here to do a review of the final in the tournament overall at the end on June 1st. After June 1st, we will be here on the channel to review it all. But let's talk about Resurgence 2025. Give us your one word, one phrase to describe your overall thoughts on this past Friday's show from Ontario, California. J News.
First of all, the in-ring competition was good to above average. I actually enjoyed the majority of the matches. But I'll be honest, I grade these wrestling shows on the totality of the output. And because the production was so horrible, it felt kind of flat to me. And that comes from my own personal bias with all these New Japan of America, New Japan Strong shows. Shouts to everybody who performed, because everybody had a good night from a performance standpoint. But outside of that, I will say this, I was a little pissed off. I was a little miffed during the tag team match. It didn't go down the way I wanted it to go down. And that was heavily disappointing. But at the end of the day, it still ended up in a good result anyways, because those two jabronis lost the belts. So I'm okay with how it all went down.
I was like, how is he gonna talk some trash here? Sonal, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the production, but I think I'm kind of like used to it now, so I don't think it impacted in any way. I preferred this to the last one. I can't remember what was the last US show. Was it Windy City?
Windy City Riot.
I preferred this one to Windy City Riot. The results were good. Like everything that happened, I was like, yeah. Obviously, like J News, the tag team match didn't go the way we'd predicted it, or the way J News predicted. I actually really liked the prediction. One of the results was very controversial, but I personally really liked it. And the main event, I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah, I would say enjoyable. It would be my overall thoughts, because like J News said, the performances in the ring were good. I can't say this was a great show, because like I do also grade on production, and the production was noticeably at an all-time low for even New Japan of America, which J News always complains about. But I think that this was the most egregious production failures on New Japan's part for a US show in particular. But let's talk about the show. We'll go through the pre-show very quickly here, because it was notable. First up, you had the Strong Survivor matchup as CJ Tino went one-on-one with Alan Breeze. Breeze took a large portion of this matchup, but in the end, it was CJ Tino who pulled out the victory, getting the win with a sunset flip 1, 2, 3 to become the new Strong Survivor, basically of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Academy elite. He is now the Strong Survivor, the head of the class. This was fairly decent. It was fine for what it was. I gave it 2.25 stars. Any thoughts? Any things you want to mention about this match, Sonal?
I didn't really pay that much attention to the pre-show. I think I mentioned this in the preview. The Strong Survivor doesn't really connect with me. It was a fine match, but I don't know. It doesn't give me the same feelings that watching, a Young Lion match in Japan. Yeah. I'm just a bit indifferent to it.
That's what it is basically. It's the New Japan of USA Young Lion equivalent at the end of the day. But to finish off the talk here about the Strong Survivor match, somebody mentioned that it seems like no one wants to be the Strong Survivor. That's right, Ninja Mortis. And it seems that way completely. And to answer your previous question, what did Juro Nelson ever do to me? He annoys me. That's what he does to me. All right, that's an answer to your question.
Wait, Genius, who annoys you more, Jarrell or Mr. Suspenders?
Oh, Tom Lawler by default, but it was the whole crew. The whole amalgamation of Team Filthy was just so annoying that they all fell into the same heap. You know what I'm saying? So he annoys me, Ninja Mortis. That sir is the main reason why.
I don't know. Like, we're gonna have to do like a poll of our community of who hates which wrestler the most. Like, is it Jay News with Team Filthy? Is it me with heel Seth Rollins still being a babyface? Is it Chrissy Love with Zoe Stark? Is it Jimmy Macaram with Jack Perry? Like, we're gonna have to do a poll. You guys in the chat, if you watch a bunch of our content, let us know out of those choices, or Josh with Finn Balor, because he was the one that first started calling Finn Balor Pin Balor and bum ass Balor. So yeah. Let us know in the chat who it. Sonal's too sweet. She doesn't really hate on anyone like we.
No, I'm indifferent to a lot of people, and sometimes Tom Lawler does annoy me, but I feel like it's nowhere near Jay News' disdain for Team Filthy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I honestly I do think it's Chrissy Love with Zoe Stark. She literally for the last 2 weeks has been trying to get Zoe Stark fired from WWE. It's crazy.
What?
It's insane. It's insane. She's like the other two from Pure Fusion Collective got fired. How does she still have a job?
Wow.
That's deep hatred. That's a deep hatred.
Yeah, that's deep. It's deep.
That's deep, Chrissy.
It's deep out here.
Jay News ain't trying to get Team Filthy fired.
No, you know what? People, if people watch me long enough on these New Japan reviews and previews, they understand I'm out here to have my good brothers and my good sisters get paid. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be a fan. If you annoy me, you annoy me. I will shit on you and make sure you understand that I'm shitting on you as a professional wrestler, not a person. I don't know you personally. I'm not going to get into your shit. No. Jarrell Nelson, you're out there. You're trying to be a heel. You're trying to be a believable heel. You're not believable. You're annoying. That's why I can't stand you and Team Filthy and the rest of your goddamn squad. You just annoy the crap out of me. So I don't want to see you on my screen. Get a change in your character. Make me a fan and not just one of those people who flicks the channel once you come on the screen. Do something about it, Jarrell Nelson. Do something about it.
See, that's constructive criticism from James.
Constructive criticism. It's so bad with Jay News and Team Filthy that I'm pretty sure he would root for David Finlay against Team Filthy.
Would you?
Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, you're right.
Is that too far, James?
You're right.
That's like too far.
Now I have to agree with SP3 here. I probably would cheer for David Finlay in that.
Right, let's run it. Tom Lawler versus David Finlay. So finally, Jamie can support David Finlay.
Next NJPW Strong event. But we thought that would be the only match, CJ Tino and Alan Breeze on the pre-show. So Walker Stewart and Veda Scott started talking about the main show, but then the lights cut out and out came Bea Priestley. She is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and she is back outside of WWE. Her 90-day non-complete clause from WWE was now finished, and she made an open challenge to any of the bitches in the back, and out came Viva Van. Viva had some nice exchanges with Bea Priestley here, at least until Bea started making her comeback. She does a double foot stomp off the middle rope onto the back of Viva Van, and then she finishes her off with the Plan B. Get it? Driver. This was like a driver of sorts for the 1-2-3. Quick matchup here, but a welcome surprise on the pre-show. Viva Van, I thought, got to look a little good in this. Pretty much, I think this was like a 5-6 minute matchup, but I thought that Bea and Viva Van came out of it looking good here. But Bea is back, and a lot of people are teasing the fact that she could go after the NJPW Strong Women's Championship in the future. But for the welcome surprise here, I gave it 2.5 stars. This was a nice little switch up on us. We don't really get that, especially on the pre-show. That's why I immediately turned on the show, because I was like, I expect nothing from these pre-shows, so I plan to not watch it. I plan to watch when the show actually starts. But this made me actually turn it on early. Sonal, what did you think about Bea Priestley showing up on the Strong event?
Yeah, I'm the same. You know, like the pre-show's the pre-show. I've been following Bea Priestley for years. Like on the independent, I actually took a picture with her at the New Japan Rev Pro show back in 2018. But obviously, I've not been following her in WWE. It'll be interesting to see how she adapts back. Is she gonna focus on America, or is she gonna go back to Japan? It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, kudos for New Japan for being like, haha, we're actually gonna put something in the pre-show. This is why you've got to watch.
Yes, it's true. Ninja Mortis asking, B was rusty, question mark. Let's see her after a few matches. Yeah, of course, because she had been benched for months before she got released from WWE. Like, she had her little feud on the main roster when she first got drafted in 2024. This was like in the spring of 2024. She had a few matches with Naomi. I think she had like 6-man tag where she teamed up with Unholy Union against the Big Three. And then she was benched for months before she finally got released back in February. So I can understand if she was a little rusty here, but I just liked the little surprise. And I thought that Viva Van looked really good in the matchup for the short amount of time that it was. J News, what did you think?
I agree that Viva Van looks strong in this particular match. You can definitely tell and see Viva's improvement over the last several months. Viva Van, even though she's been signed to an ROH/AEW contract for several months now, she continues to work overseas and internationally and things of that nature. And you can see that Viva's putting in the work. So shouts to Viva Van for putting in that work and getting her timing down, which is when I first saw her like about 2 years ago was my biggest issue with Viva was her timing. But she's definitely gotten that down, and she's more crisp inside the ring. As for B, I'm with Ninja Mortis. It did seem like B was a little rusty, but give her a couple of more matches. I feel she'll be fine. Will she go back to Japan? Will she go and join Stardom again? I think that would be a good deal for her to do. I'm not too sure where else she would end up. I know that she did not burn her AEW bridge, so that can be a possibility for her. I'm not too sure how that'll break down, but we'll see how it all works out. And yeah, man, you know, in the UK indie scene, is always clamoring for more women to be back in it. So the first time I ever watched B was like in this crazy hardcore match between her and Nixon Newell on WCPW back in 2016, I think 2017. And I was like, who are these two young ass
WCPW days? That's memory.
Yo, they had the best of the best in WCPW, yo.
I had never seen a women's hardcore match like theirs, and they didn't even bleed. And I was like, this is intense. This is pretty cool. I want them as it be. I want B to be successful. I want Nixon to be successful. Nixon's been on her UK indie round trip. She's been doing Attack as of recently and things of that nature. So shouts to B for her comeback here. It was a good spot here on the pre-show. And it seems that her relationship with Bushi Road is a good one. So we'll probably end up seeing her on some Stardom shows and probably more of the US based New Japan shows and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's how you leave a company. You leave it in the sense that you can still return. You don't burn the bridge. You don't talk shit and stuff because you don't know when you might need them later on in the road.
Yeah. Don't call the owner of another company a crackhead.
Yeah, we can't. Come on, man. Leave.
I'm just saying.
Alone,
yes,
man.
I've been 21 before too. But I ain't call people from Victoria's Secret crackheads when I left that company. But
listen, man.
But you worked at Victoria's Secrets.
Yeah, I worked at Victoria's Secret when I was 19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how
I met Baby Seth and Top Guy JJ.
Yeah, I met him through them because they all worked in the same place, and exactly.
I thought my past was weird because I worked at Hollister for like 4 years.
I worked so many different places. I worked at Victoria's Secret. I've done door-to-door fundraising. I worked with a boat company. I worked at the Intrepid. I was a nomad back in my late teens, early 20s.
Making the grind to get to where you are now.
Exactly, where I just talk into a camera and yell about pro wrestling. That's where my life is at now. Hey, I make a good living on it. But yes, don't call people crackheads. That's all I have. Let's talk about the main card for NJPW Resurgence 2025. This one we started off with a student versus teacher matchup. Fred Rosser going one-on-one with former Strong Survivor Matt Vandergriff. Rosser attempted to charge Vandergriff a bit, but he was ready and eventually dropping him with a big drop kick. Rosser regained control, dropping his whole weight on Vandergriff on the apron, giving him some time. He then worked over and targeted his younger opponent's legs for a bit, trying to keep him down on the mat. They laid a trap though under the steel barricades as they fought into the crowd a bit, showing this more aggression than usual between a student and teacher matchup here, as Vandergriff has been more of a cocky student who's been trying to usurp his teacher here in this matchup. The veteran endured a couple of kicks from Vandergriff, tossing his hips into his skull. The confident with a buckle bomb was enough to down Rosser. Vandergriff started laying him out. He threw a nice little lariat here that looked like he was going to put him away, but he gets hit with a rolling elbow, and then also the gut check from Rosser. It looks like Rosser's going to pick up the victory, but Vandergriff kicks out until Rosser locks in the crossface chicken wing to get the tap out victory here to pick up the win over his student. Rosser looking good in a rare win that we've seen from Rosser on one of these NJPW Strong events. This was a fine little opener to the show, some solid work. I thought that Vandergriff, for the first time, actually looked like a pro wrestler instead of a cosplayer. Usually when I've seen Vandergriff in the past, he's looked like cosplay Baron Corbin if he lost all of his height and size. This one, he actually looked like his own individual for once, which is an improvement in the look, and I thought his work here was stronger than usual in this matchup. So I gave it 2 3/4 stars. This was a fine little opener to the show. Sonal, what did you think?
I'm gonna be honest. They're not making me care for these matches. They're like, it's like the pre-show. I feel really bad. Like, I just didn't really care because it was like I just woken up and I was like, sometimes like matches like I see they're really good. Like, you know, when New Japan has shows at like 6 a.m. and they can manage to get me hooked from like at the very beginning. This just didn't. It was a fine match. I'm just not able to invest in it.
I understand.
I'm very sorry, New Japan Strong.
It's not the most riveting of matchups. I will give you that. J News, what did you think?
I'm different than the two of you guys here. It's not the most amazing match on the planet, but this match was way better than it had any business being, to be quite honest. The match itself. Sonal is right, though. I don't care about Matt Vandergriff. I don't care about my good brother, Fred Rosser, as characters on New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? It just the company, they just don't allow us to care enough about these guys to think that they're putting on anything of quality while we're watching them at the end of the day. But the match itself, way better than it had any business being. I'm gonna give those guys that. But did I care? Absolutely not. So that's where I'm at with this particular match. To your point, SP3, Vandergriff looking the strongest he's ever looked in any of his New Japan Strong matches, even though when he's outside of New Japan Strong, he's just another piece of enhancement talent anywhere you put him. So, you know, ain't nothing else you can really say about that. So, yeah.
But like, my question, how do you guys think that they could improve that? Like, I don't know, do they need to send them to Japan to do something?
No.
I just can't get invested, and I want to know, but I don't know how I can get invested.
No. What happens here is about the investment part of it, right? is that you need something to latch onto, right? Them as characters on your wrestling television show, if you were to have a wrestling television show. New Japan Strong doesn't have a television show. So we are we are susceptible to fall into the whole you know, what's the phrase that they use? When you don't see people, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? That sort of thing.
Out of sight, out of mind.
There you go. Out of sight, out of mind. They're very out of sight, out of mind. So we don't care because they're not on our screens on a regular basis. We're not going to care, right? And that's really the jux of it. And I know that they have their stream shows for the NJPW Academy thingies, and ain't nobody watching that, man. Ain't nobody watching that, man. This ain't New Japan Strong no more.
I think more people watch Tamagotchi than the NJPW Academy shows.
I guess, man. But this isn't New Japan Strong anymore. This isn't the pandemic anymore. Like, y'all need to bring it and give something for people. You need to give people something to chew on, metaphorically speaking. So that's where we're at with this. Like I said, the match was way better than I thought it was going to be, the in-ring stuff. But from a character perspective, hey man, I'm sorry. I just can't. I'm not with it.
Kind of happened.
I think that's the thing with New Japan. We always claim like it's not about the story, but at least with New Japan people, you're invested in the characters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you can like not watch anything, and if you do it, these characters are like drawing you to them, whether you want to hate the House of Torture or whether you want to laugh with like Taguchi. There's something there, but like these matches are just not giving you anything. You're like, well, it's just a match, isn't it? Even the Young Lions have given you something. They're especially now, you've got like Murashima and Nagai and Yasuda all giving us something to root for, but they're not doing that.
Right.
I think it's also the point of like if these are the equivalent of the Young Lions for the US, then make them dress like Young Lions. Don't put them in these random like gear like CJ Tino and Alan Breeze. Yes, it gives them some type of look and something that should be able to latch on. But if they were in black trunks, I think I'd be a little bit more interested in them, because then you're really saying this is the equivalent for the US of the Young Lions.
Yeah, but I think what we need to also understand and come to a realization of is that there's a real separation between church and state. New Japan in Japan really does a big time line divide between New Japan in proper, as I like to say, in Japan, and New Japan of America, and they want to keep it separate, you know, and it sucks. I honestly think it sucks because before Fred, Shibata tried his best when he had the LA Dojo still running. It wasn't the New Japan Academy. It was still the LA Dojo. When he had the LA Dojo running, he made those dudes do everything that they did in Japan so that shit would coalesce at the end of the day, and everything would be homogenous in a sense, so that people just knew that these kids were young lions and stuff like that, and they were coming up through a similar system. And in this case, now with the New Japan Academy, you could definitely tell the difference. You can feel the difference. And you can see the difference at the end of the day. I'm with SP3. Put these dudes in black trunks, make them shave their freaking heads, and go to work, man. Go to work, because this ain't it. This ain't it.
There should be some type of streamline where if you're good enough for the academy, you graduated from the academy, you then go into the dojo, or if you're really good, you just elevate to being on the main card. And I don't think that Vandergriff is that good that he should be already on the main card and expect people to actually care. He should have went from Strong Survivor for a fucking year to probably the dojo.
Which is what they did with Zane J. Zane J was Strong Survivor for 2-3 matches.
They didn't want Vandergriff. Maybe they were like, no, we're not taking
that's definitely a possibility.
He's not good enough for us either, which would be kind of like a weird thing. Like
Zane J was Strong Survivor for 3 matches, and he decided to go to Japan. So
or it could be simple as he doesn't want to go to Japan. I know, like, not.
Why work for New Japan if you don't want to go to Japan? Let's be serious here. Why work for New Japan if you're not going to want to go to Japan? What's the point? What's the point? Might as well go travel the freaking Indies, work your GCWs and your DPWs, and take your shots. Because if you're signing a New Japan contract, your goal is to go to Kurikan Hall and maybe wrestle at Ryogoku Sumo Hall. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the dream. Yeah. That's the far dream.
That's the dream. Next up, second match on the card, we had our first title match on the show as Jay News' favorite tag team, the world-class Wrecking Crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs defend the titles against United Empires, quote-unquote, Templario and TJP. Reason why it's quote-unquote, because if you just saw these two people coming out, you wouldn't know that they were an actual tag team, because they couldn't come out with any different of gear. Templario has gear made to be in United Empire because it fits the color scheme of green, black, and gold. And TJP, he wanted to switch up his gear a bit. So he just had red and black. They had basically Switchblade JY special attire for this show. But I was just like, I took this as a visual cue that he is so out of the whole United Empire, basically, at this point. It's only by name and for these strong shows that he's a part of this group. But I digress. World-class Wrecking Crew spared no second in attacking their opponents right off the bat, but TJP and Templario were ready, dropping Isaacs with an assisted bulldog. Nelson distracted himself with the audience as Isaacs lost control after having targeted TJP's back. United Empire combined their forces, did some double teams to get back into this matchup. Isaacs tossed TJP over Nelson's shoulders, leading to a spirited defense by Templario coming in. Templario looked really good in this matchup. Templario hit Nelson with a powerbomb, followed by a Mamba Splash by TJP, but a recovering Isaacs made the save for this one. Then we get TJP with a plancha onto Isaacs. Nelson slammed Templario with a pop-up powerbomb, followed by an assisted backstabber. Nelson raked the eyes of TJP, hoping for a backward crossbody, but that was thwarted by an inside cradle assisted by Templario, where they got the 1, 2, and 3, and a shocking change here as we have new NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions. Yes, the United Empire got even more gold into their set to go along with the IWGP Tag Team Championships, now held by Callum Newman and a Great Okan. Now they bring the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships to the group as TJP and Templario are the new champions. World-class Wrecking Crew, I thought they were pretty good here as well. But like I said, I think the standout of the matchup was Templario. TJP was decent enough here, but Templario really kind of showed that he cares here. But it just felt very awkward with TJP being recognized as United Empire, but not specifically. It felt like on purpose, not wearing any gear that would have made you tell that he's a part of United Empire, but still winning the tag team titles here. So a surprise result. I thought the first surprise result of the night, and it wouldn't be the last, but pretty good matchup here that I gave 3.25 stars. Sonal, what did you think about this one?
That's the thing, is it's really awkward. Like, I still to this day, I was surprised that they kept him on the card after all the shit that went down and all the things. So when TJP came out with the red gear, I was fully on board for Jay News's prediction to come true. Like, did he tell New Japan he was wearing this different colored ring gear, or did he just like appear? Because everything points to, because every member of the Empire has green gear. Someone, yes, I was going to point that question out. TJP talking shit about Jeff not wanting to wear dark. He wore green all the time, Jeff. Right? His like singlet was green. So why are you going to be talking that shit there? And then you're coming out in bright red. I love that analogy to Jay White gear. I didn't think about that at the time, but I used to love that gear when he used to bring that out.
Me too.
Matches.
Me too. I still remember the first Forbidden Door when he wore that. Yeah.
You know, like the white gear as well that he used to do. So like, again, Templario really stood up, but everything just felt like I'm like Jay News. I'm not really a fan of West Coast Wrecking Crew. Again, I'm just very indifferent to it. I love watching Templar, but everything just felt awkward to me. I still and the fact that they won, like he can't. Because I used to love TJP. Like he was one of the first wrestlers 205 Live and stuff. But there comes a point where like you bring personal things into a world that's meant to be like kayfabe, and he makes people uncomfortable to watch. And now you're champions. It's like, how am I meant to believe that you're doing this for the Empire? And then Templario is going to go back to flipping Japan maybe with his belts like, yeah, me and TJP, and like everyone's going to be like,
awkward. And why does New Japan love putting titles on guys with no contracts?
Because they think it's a way for them to entice these wrestlers to continue to work for them from show to show. It's the dangling carrot effect, as they call it, right? The incentive. You can incentivize these, because I'll be damned. The writing was on the wall. If he came out in red gear and Templario came out in United Empire colors, what did I say on the preview? Be a professional. Turn on Templario. Join the West Coast Wrecking Crew. Cost them the freaking... I don't care. But no. Rocky, with his infinite wisdom, decided, hey, we're going to make this awkward situation even more awkward and give these two guys the freaking straps. What is this? What is
Let's make this awkward situation even more awkward. Yeah.
The thing is, right, it'd be interesting if they did it in Japan. Like, obviously, TJP won't be in Japan, but it'd be fine because I don't know how aware the Japanese fans are of all of this. But the US crowds, I can 10 out of 10 bet they all saw those Reddit posts. I don't even go on Reddit, and I saw those posts.
But here's the thing, though, right? Once it leaves Reddit, it becomes digestible content for the entire world to see. And once everything landed on Twitter and then stuff got copied onto Instagram, it was over. Everyone knew what was going on. And then on top of everything else, I want to say this yet again, to SP3's point, the West Coast Wrecking Crew in this match, the wrestling match, they look good. They looked good. But guess what? They annoy even Rocky Romero. So at the end of the day, they had to lose. He's
like, I did this long enough. It's been long enough. I'm putting these saddles on anybody but them.
So I to me, first of all, I think Sonal and SP3 both said it. And I'll reiterate it. Like, TJP's not going to Japan. Like he's not. He said as much in his diatribe that he wrote on Reddit or whatever the case is. Like, they're not paying him enough to do that at the end of the day. So it's like, so you're gonna have these shows once every 2 to 3 months, and he's gonna appear on those shows, and is that it? And there's no real.
In his red gear with like nothing related to, like, I don't know if he said in the post match comment about the Empire.
Yeah, like there's then there's no related TV show for us to pick up on the character work here. Is Templario gonna stay his partner the entire time? Because I know like these CMLL things are usually just short lived, right? They're for like a tour of they last for like a quarter and stuff like that, and then they go back to Mexico. So it's like, what are we gonna do here? You know,
yeah, they never even put a title on Teton, who's been here multiple years.
Someone said that actually at the end of the match, and I didn't notice that because I was still too tired. That it was only Templario who did the crowns up, which makes it even more awkward.
No. Like I said, it was completely awkward because everything, like I said, the writing was on the wall. Be a professional, Mr. Perkins. Turn on the United Empire member when there's no other United Empire members here at the show. What are we doing here?
Rocky's like, Rocky heard Jay News' thing. I was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, he did. You know why?
Not doing that. He's like, that's too predictable now. I won't do that.
You know why? Rocky knows it. I've shaken that man's hand. I know what the king of sneaky style is all about. You know what I'm saying? God damn it, Rocky. God damn it.
Jay News, you shouldn't have put it out into the universe. Maybe if you hadn't have put it out there, it would have happened.
But you have to manifest, Sonal. You have to manifest. It's what it's about here on this universe. Putting it all out there so that people can latch onto it, and then something come about. But no. This is not the way it's working out today. It's not the way it's working out.
This was very awkward. This was very awkward the whole time. I literally had to tweet out like, "This man is like, he is letting everybody know, in case they didn't read the Reddit post, that he is so out of like mentally checked out of the United Empire."
But can we on that note put out that what happened on the Saturday night? Mr. Jeffrey Cobb made his WWE debut.
First of all,
he did.
Can I just
And
say,
apparently Samoan.
we're gonna hold off on that, brother. All right, let you know, brother me softly there. Okay, we're gonna hold off on that for a minute. Okay, gonna hold off on that. I just want to say one last thing here. To Sonal's point, I feel like now, for the strong openweight tag team championships, like there's no, yet again, the same thing we were talking about with Vandergriff and stuff like that, right? Like we don't care about what happens with these titles. Right, you gave them to GYV. They lost them after one defense. Right, they gave the West Coast Wrecking Crew 2 defenses, and then they're off. And the West Coast Wrecking Crew has been part of New Japan Strong since the outset. So it's like if you're not going to let your OGs rock for a long time, it's like what's the point of all this stuff at the end of the day, right? It's like it just doesn't matter. Shouts to my good brothers from the GYV making their return to AEW television over the weekend, by the way. But you know, it just. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I think the thing is though that if they were gonna put it on TJP and Templario, actually, if it was before all this shit went through, it actually might have made an impact because the Empire people are connecting with it. But as we have all mentioned, and as SP3 has rightly emphasized, it's now just feels awkward.
It is awkward at the end of the day.
All of it.
I might as well have TJP as part of the Don Callis family. He could have tagged with Rocky, and they could have won the tag belts. That would have worked. That would have worked fine for me. I wouldn't have cared. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we get TJP and Josh Alexander. They got history together. Get them as a team.
I'd rather see Josh on Maple Leaf Pro. He's the star of that show, by the way.
TNA Canada. All right. But yes, you guys are right. You guys are right. Jeff Cobb made his WWE debut, aligning with Solo Sikoa to the annoyance of Jacob Fatu at Backlash. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I thought that was like the best possible scenario for Jeff Cobb on WWE main roster. I originally thought that he would go to NXT because he can immediately be a top guy in NXT. But I think if he's going to be on the main roster, he cannot find a better role than in the now defunct Bloodline. Any thoughts from you guys for Jeff Cobb's debut?
I know, because actually it's so funny. The guy has been like, I've retired. He was taking pictures with Tony Hawk and Driller Maloney. And then I was like, as soon as the picture with Driller came out, I was like, yeah, he's debuting in WWE. And then I was like, oh, there's a pay-per-view going. I was like, well, it has to be that. I was a bit on the thing because obviously I don't watch WWE, and when I did my reaction to it, I was like, you can mistake me if I'm wrong, but that was my confusion. That obviously the Bloodline, I always thought I was like Samoan and Tongan, and then you got Jeff Cobb, who is like Filipino, like roots. He like Guam, Hawaii. I got very confused. Like,
I just found it hilarious. Hikuleo has not been here for a year.
Where
And we
are you,
all said
Hikuleo?
when he
Where
got signed, everybody and their mama was like, he's gonna join the Bloodline. How did Jeff Cobb get into the Bloodline before Hikuleo?
Can we like anyone in America? Because me and SP3 can't do it. Jay News, you're gonna have to lead it. Can we have a search party for Hikuleo? It's been over a year.
Hikuleo right now is living at home with Big Daddy because they live in that area at the end of the day. So you will never find him at the PC. He's under cars fixing trucks and shit with the big King Haku because that's the side business if people didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't even at the PC right now. That's where Hikuleo's at. I think that like I always say, my good brothers go out there and make that money. But Jeff Cobb being a part of the Bloodline or the remnants of the Bloodline, I couldn't even bring myself to smile when I saw him jump over the guardrail. I said to myself, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing." all right, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It was like I said the same thing with Jonas when what the hell is his WWE name?
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. I said the same thing with Bronson Reed joined the Bloodline. I was like, it works, but is this what we're really doing right now? And I was like, we could do something.
Like
joined the Bloodline. He was a part of the team for War Games.
Yeah, I mean, but he was holding up prayer hands and the whole thing. It was too much for me, man. It's too much for me. But at the end of the day, I hope that Jeff is able to squeeze all the juice that he can out of this WWE run. And
go get paid. Go get paid.
Yeah, go get paid. Yeah. There's a lot of different fans online that are like, "Oh, Lucha Underground is WWE now. Like it's a good thing." Miss me with that bullshit. So the real Lucha Underground match that took place during the week was Ricochet versus freaking Angelico on Collision. But anyways.
Who would have thought that Prince Puma would be the biggest heel in pro wrestling?
Hey, man, he's out there walking away with people's bionic legs. So, hey, listen, it works. It works. But back to Jeff. Look, brother, get paid, milk it for as much as you can. I hope you were one of the smarter wrestlers that put a no release clause in your contract, so you can serve out your contract. And that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Love that. Love that.
I mean, I don't like. I said this, I don't think I will be watching WWE for Jeff Cobb, but I like because of my views on WWE. But I will always wish Jeff Cobb the best. You know, he does great, and if this is where he wants to be, I will support him fully. One more thing.
Jeff.
I will never ever believe a word Jeff Cobb says ever again. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah.
He's working, people. He's working.
I'm retiring, not retiring. Manages that bag full of lies at this point.
I respect him for it. He's a worker. Speaking of workers, the Good Brothers are back, and they are alongside Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. Yes, the Super Elite is reborn as they are in a Bullet Club battle with the president of the Bullet Club, the War Dogs. So you got Clark Connors, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and Goto as the Bucks and Good Brothers set up for the Too Sweet. The War Dogs charge them and start a huge brawl around ringside. It's pure chaos around the ringside area, all amongst the arena for a bit. Once Matthew and the Good Brothers get wrangled up by the War Dogs, Nicholas takes out the pile of them off the stage area with the senton off, showing off his athleticism early on in this one, toppling the new generation of the Bullet Club. The War Dogs isolated their opponents to the ring post, rained in punches down on all of them. The War Dogs then guarded Gabe Kidd for a bit as Kidd decides that he wants to cut a promo in the middle of this matchup. He starts talking trash to the old Bullet Club guard. Anderson single-handedly fought off each unleashed War Dog before tagging in Gallows, who started running wild for a bit. The Bucks united their forces and went after Kidd and Finlay. You had Gallows testing his mettle against Gabe for a while, a battle of the bald head white men, as Gabe Kidd put it. It was merely bait, though, for Anderson to come in, and he hits a gun stun. Tossing aside Finlay and Connors, Gallows sends Goto into the Young Bucks, who slammed him down. We get super kick party. We get an elevated Meltzer driver on Goto, and then the Good Brothers finish things off with the Magic Killer on Goto here. So we pretty much predicted this on the money. We was like, the War Dogs team has Goto on it. He is looking up at the lights. The old school Bullet Club, the Super Elite, get the victory here in what I thought was a really fun 8-man tag team matchup. The Bucks always feel rejuvenated when they're in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring, and they bring out some of the old Young Bucks feel, but they've absolutely been killing it in multi-man matches over on AEW television. So it really feels like that short run in New Japan got them to put back on their working boots, and they were good here. The Good Brothers look refreshed as well in their first appearance back in New Japan Pro Wrestling in a couple of at least 2 years. And I will always love the intro for Machine Gun Carl Anderson and the machine gun sound. That will never get old to me, and it always brings back some old school vibes. The previous generation of the Bullet Club, they put up the 2 Sweet for the War Dogs, but this new generation just said fuck you. They performed their own gesture only to themselves and walked away from the Super Elite here. I had a lot of fun with this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was genuinely, to me, it felt like the first really like good match on this show. Sonal?
I did enjoy it actually, because you know I'm a bit when the Good Brothers come, I'm a bit like. But this was a nice, fun match. Obviously, there was no seriousness to it. It was just a nice lead on from obviously the steel cage match. We all knew Gator was looking up at the lights, but I did like the end bit where they did the 2 Sweet, and then the proper Bullet Club were like, nah, we're just gonna do it ourselves. I also want to give kudos to Clark Connors, who did that match, then jumped on a plane to head to Japan for the Best of Super Junior on Sunday. Props to you, Clark Connors. We respect you for that.
Much respect for that. That was gangster. Jay News, what did you think?
Yeah, shouts to Clark Connors, air miles. Those things must be crazy right now. But I will say this, big shout out to my good brother, the Big LG. The Big LG, Luke Gallows, a.k.a. Doc Gallows, looked the best he's looked physically in quite some time. He was moving in that ring on Friday night. And I want to give him the props. I don't know if he went the stem cell route like everybody else is doing and whatnot, but the good brother looks rejuvenated. I know he has a renewed faith in his Lord and Savior right now. So things are in a different sphere for the Big LG. So shouts to the Big LG for looking all the bit of 41 years old that he is, because that is how young the Big LG is, as a matter of fact.
That promo, that preaching promo at the post match was hilarious.
Yeah, and shouts to the Machine Gun on his sobriety and looking as lean as he does, and being able to conduct himself in such a professional and good way in this match. To your point, SP3, the Young Bucks looking like the Young Bucks look. You know what I'm saying? They're no longer young in age, quote unquote, but they're still moving like the Young Bucks at the end of the day. So shouts to them. The War Dogs, I didn't expect much from, coming off of that steel cage match that they had just been through in recent days. But the boys put on a very entertaining match. And yeah, just wanted to say that, man, and give everybody in the match a shout out and whatnot. Fun match to watch, and we'll see as to how everything breaks down now that the Good Brothers are back in the New Japan fold, and how it all evolves with the storylines and things of that nature.
For how long before they decide to go again?
Well, this time around, I don't think it's going to be as easy for them to just climb back over the WWE fence, if we're being honest. So, yeah,
I agree there. Then we had our next title matchup, this one for the NJPW the Strong Openweight Championship. Tomohiro Ishii making his first defense against the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney. Of course, with these two competitors, the match, of course, started off with strikes being exchanged, forearms and forearms. Maloney punishing Ishii in the corner with forearms and chops. You had Ishii come back, tripped up by Maloney on the apron, sealing an envelope of pain with a lariat on to the outside. He baited the Bullet Club War Dogs member, did Ishii, and hit some good offense in the ring. He hits a nasty looking power driver at one point. Then we get Ishii. He suplexed Maloney off the top rope. Good looking superplex there. Though Ishii maintained his control, Maloney trounced him with a Made in Birmingham, which looked like he was about to drop this man right on the top of the dome. That looked dangerous there. Maloney came back. He hits a spine buster and then follows up with the gore, but Ishii refused to give in, kicking out at 2. We got Maloney's drive, hitting some German suplexes. They exchanged German suplex after German suplex. Ishii coming back with some big lariats, Drilla hitting some lariats of his own, and an Inseguri at another point. Maloney sent Ishii once again into the mat with a gore, but this time Ishii kicks out at 1, which really fired up the fans. He slams Maloney with a big power bomb and then the sliding lariat, but Maloney's able to kick out at 2, and then finally Ishii puts away Maloney with the brain buster for the 1, 2, 3. Ishii, man, he is always guaranteed to give you a good one, and this was a very good hoss fight here. It was short on time, but it packed all the punch. This was all thriller, no filler from the minute go, and I love the way these two guys work together. Not as great as their New Japan Cup matchup, but a very strong matchup here. I give it 3 3/4 stars. Jay News, what did you think about the Strong Openweight Championship match?
That was the first thing that came to mind. That this match wasn't as strong as the New Japan Cup match, but it was still, like you said, it was all thriller, no filler at the end of the day. So they definitely had to work for time in this one here. I think that they're really leaning towards the 44 caliber Maloney here on being a top flight BMFer. So I can see him definitely being a strong contender for that never openweight championship down the road. Whenever Takeshita decides that this belt is no longer important, I'm going to go get something else at the end of the day. So there's that of it. Ishii still doing Ishii things at the great age of 50, man. So I got to give him props for that. And yeah, man, it was like you said, it was hard hitting. They were pressed for time and they did what they had to do. And the crowd was definitely into it while watching the match and things of that nature. So got to give the crowd props for that, for understanding what the medal of the match was. And yeah, man, definitely see a bright future for Maloney. As we all know, Ishii's career it seemed at one point within the last year and a half like it was winding down, and now not so much. So I think we're going to continue to see Ishii on our screens for a couple of more years. So props to those guys.
He's already had a better 2025 than he had the entirety of 2024, where it looks like he has more left in the tank than what it looked like the last 12 months. Sonal, what did you think?
God, you gotta love pausing the New Japan broadcasting for some big beefy men slaps. It was really good because I think Ishii and Driller are both really big, and I still putting in with the level of Shingo's. I doubt Driller was ever a junior. Someone rigged a scale or something.
Yeah.
But both Ishii and Driller are so athletic. And so it was short, and again, yeah, it wasn't as good as their New Japan Cup. But with the short time, it meant that they could give everything and it wouldn't come across as clunky and things. I love that Ishii is getting a belt, because I think we've mentioned that this is similar to the Never belt, which is what he's thrived on. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Driller's gonna do. He's got such a bright future. We're like broken records. He has made probably one of the most seamless transitions from junior to heavyweight, and is thriving on it.
Agreed there, and I do agree with I Make Beats. I've said this before, that ever since Driller got the haircut, it looked like he packed on 20 more pounds of muscle along the way as well. So he is more jacked. Next up was the match I was probably looking forward to the most on this card, as it was Konosuke Takeshita defending the never openweight championship against El Phantasmo, a rematch, their third singles match in New Japan Pro Wrestling, from the G1 Climax last year to Wrestling Dontaku a week earlier, and now this one after their 15-minute time limit draw. Phantasmo started off this matchup hot. They wrestled to a stalemate at first before Phantasmo spilled to the outside. A quick Irish whip, but he regained composure with a tope suicida. Takeshita tried for the Blue Thunder Bomb, but ALP was able to counteract that with the Canadian Hammer. chipping away at Phantasmo, though. Takeshita tried to fight him onto the apron. He wanted to hit a power driver, but Phantasmo was able to fight him off. He hits a wicked looking dive, springboard dive to the outside into the crowd, landing in a goddamn lady's lap. That shit was crazy. He hits a big power driver on the apron as well. A callback to their previous matchup at Dontaku. Takeshita laid helplessly, unaware that Phantasmo was setting up a table destined for him on the top rope. The pair battled with Takeshita stiffly sending Phantasmo careening with a big lariat. They hit the bastard driver at another point, which nearly put Phantasmo away, but he was able to kick out. Phantasmo came back with a UFO, which almost put Takeshita away, but Takeshita was able to kick out. Phantasmo looked like he was on the brink of victory at certain points in this matchup. In particular, he hits the CR2, and then he follows up with the Thunder Kiss 86. But Rocky Romero, that bastard, that sneaky bastard, he cuts the match off. He pulls the referee out of the ring. This leads to Phantasmo having to take care of Rocky a bit here. He hits him with a big power bomb through that table at ringside. We get a rapid fire ending to the matchup as Takeshita was able to follow this up. He hits a rolling elbow, a power driver knee, and then he hits one Raging Fire and then a second Raging Fire. 1, 2, 3. Konosuke Takeshita is able to retain the never Openweight championship here. Post-match, despite the way that Takeshita got the job done in Rocky making the save for him when it looked like he was on the brink of a defeat here, they still show respect to one another, with Phantasmo still unable to defeat Takeshita after their 3 matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The record now standing at 2-0-1 between Takeshita and ELP, which I said it after Dontaku. The big moment is going to be when ELP finally beats Takeshita, which I think is going to happen with both of these men being in the same block in the G1 this year. But this was another excellent matchup between these two. These two feel like they are low-key wrestling soulmates. Like, they just flow so well. The sequences they have, the counter work, how they just exchange like poison ranas and different lariats at different points. Like, Takeshita brings out the BMFer in ELP, and ELP is able to bring that fluid nature against Takeshita, and it flows so well between the two, and they have some great near falls in this matchup. The only downside is, I will say, Sonal was right that Rocky got a little bit too involved in this one here. That one moment was like, oh fuck, damn it.
That was like House of Torture shit going on. That was like Dick Togo shit.
But still, it was a terrific matchup, so I got to give it 4.25 stars. Sonal, what did you think about Takeshita ELP3?
Yeah, I mean, I did tell you. You was like, the last time, like, something a little bit, but then it got more. But that's how good ELP and Takeshita are together. That even with that annoyance with Rocky's interference, it was still an amazing match. Like, obviously they've not had the lineage of like people like Okada and Tanahashi, but they have that connection in the ring, which levels in the fact that they're very similar in styles. So, like, for example, for anyone who doesn't know, Takeshita, when he was in DDT, there's no weight classes there, and Takeshita is very athletic. And so is ELP, who obviously was a junior, and now he's more in the open weight thing. I agreed with SP3 that I think the crown and glory will come in the G1. I kind of don't want them to run it again until then, because I don't want them to oversaturate us with it. Because obviously, as we know, Takeshita is facing Oleg at Dominion. Questionable choice, but you know, that's just my thoughts on Oleg. But yeah, this was a great match. You know what, saying that, it's going to be there, and I know it, but I don't want to see Rocky at Dominion. I don't. Yeah,
he shouldn't need any Rocky interference for.
No, but that's the thing, right? Nolan. You know when Dick Togo does it with Evil, it makes sense. Evil needs help. Yeah. The man is evil, right? But to do it with Takeshita, it just feels wrong. Like, okay, you can maybe do it like in the middle, you know, like the last one. But to pull out the ref, it just makes Takeshita look weak. Like Takeshita can beat ELP. That's not a thing. So yeah, see, I told you, like you say, oh, it's okay, and then it just gets more and more and more until we get to House of Torture level.
I don't want this anymore. This should be the one and only time, and they should learn their lesson from this. Takeshita does not need you to pull the referee out. He should just be able to kick out that type of stuff.
It's your fault, SP3. Rocky watched this. He watched you going, oh, it's not too bad. It's not an issue. And he was like, I'm gonna do the most now.
He's like, I'm gonna make it an issue for this man to complain about me as well. J News, what did you think about ELP Takeshita 3?
I thought it was great, man. I thought those two guys, like you said, great chemistry in the ring between those two guys, man. Super athletic dudes. Every time ELP does that springboard dive, I like to call it method air for those people who out there who know about snowboarding, the way he holds his feet back. And they're terrific in-ring performers, and they know when to turn things on from a trying to outlast one another standpoint and things of that nature. I completely agree with you guys. You know, Rocky Romero didn't necessarily need to interfere in this match, but could this be some foreshadowing for the future? Takeshita might be one of those wrestlers who gets tired of people interfering in his matches and all. So you know what that can mean for the future.
Ooh,
if we wanted it to go that route. So, there's things that can be tied together in here, trying to keep it positive and all that jazz. But yeah, man, terrific match between these two guys. Definitely don't want to see them go at it again for quite some time until maybe there's something bigger at stake between the two of them. You know what I'm saying? So there's that thought process of mine in that particular regard. But yeah, man, great match. Can't say much more about it. And the King of Sneaky style, man. I'm gonna keep watching you, man. I'm gonna keep watching you, seeing what you're doing from match to match, company to company. And if you keep doing this bullshit, man, we're gonna have to have a talk.
You made the list. You've made the list.
That's all I was gonna say.
I'm gonna have to have that talk, sir. Next up, we had Hirooki Goto defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Zack Sabre Jr. As soon as they announced that this was the semi-main event, I was like, oh shit, we might get a title change. Because, like, why are we putting the women's title match when it looked like this was going to be the main event? But I didn't think that we would get the result of this matchup that they did. So that's another reason why this was in the semi-main event spot. This was a rematch, of course, from New Beginning when Hirooki Goto defeated Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And this was a great clash of styles because Goto can be very technical, but he's more of like a strong style, fighting spirit type of competitor, while Zack is the king of the techers. So we got some technical wrestling starting off. Goto escaping Zack's forte unscathed. They go outside to the outside barricade where Goto absorbed Zack's strikes and came back with some beating strikes of his own. Sabre Jr. started disrespecting the champion with intentional soft kicks to the head and pie-facing him, kind of showing the same type of attitude that he had back in New Beginning, pie-facing and not taking Goto that seriously, leading to Goto coming back with a big lariat that made the crowd gas a bit. We got seeking to wrench Goto's arms behind his back. Zack had him in a couple of submissions until Goto was able to make the ropes. Goto make a furious comeback himself, hitting an Ishigoroshi, hitting some cruel looking lariats that left Zack gasping for air again. We got Zack dropping Goto with a big Zack driver out of nowhere with both men for the double down. We had Zack with Shane Haste in his corner, kind of encouraging him to try to put things away, trapping the champion's arms and legs behind him, but Goto would never relent, able to get himself to the ropes in the nick of time before he's able to submit. Sabre Jr. Goto came back with the one-man shelter, getting a near fall on that one. Sabre Jr. delivered a parade of strikes, broken up by another lariat that turned him inside out. It looked like Goto was on the verge of victory, winning out a strike battle, a big headbutt to the jaw, but every time he went for the GTR, Zack had another reversal, another pinning combination that would get him out of that danger. Then we get another GTR attempt, but then Zack was able to basically go to the ropes. He gets an Okana roll into the European clutch, but at the same time, Goto gets a bridge, a German suplex bridge with both men's shoulders down. We get the 1, 2, 3, and the referee states that this is a double pinfall finish. Very rare in New Japan Pro Wrestling. If they want to do a draw, it's either a time limit draw or a double knockout draw, but this time we get a double pinfall here, which got some boos from the crowd in attendance and made Zack Sabre Jr. absolutely irate as he attacks the referee, puts him in a guillotine choke. He tosses Goto's belt away from him and shoves him. Goto, with nothing else to do, left the jeering crowd as the crowd was very upset with this. But these two guys have great chemistry with one another, so they can have nothing but a very good matchup at the very least. Definitely a step down from their new beginning in Osaka matchup, which I was close to giving 5 stars. I gave it 4 3/4, but this one was like a 3 3/4 matchup. Very good, but the non-finish kind of leaves a sour taste in some fans' mouth, and I can definitely understand that. J News, what did you think about Goto versus Zack, the rematch here?
I thought it was solid, man. I didn't think anything bad of it necessarily. I was definitely surprised that it was announced as a semi-main. To be quite honest, so that was a surprise to me. With that being said, I thought the opposite of what you thought. Being that it was announced as a semi-main, I didn't think that they were going to go for a title change with this at all. But be it that it
not with this. I thought with the main event they would do a title change.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which I was right.
Well, yeah, but this being yet again another one of the finishes that they went to here, something that they don't do often. Obviously, the double pin, basically ending up in a draw, was probably the safest way they could go if they wanted to keep Zack in the picture, is really more or less the way I thought about it. Some people online, when I got onto Twitter right before I got on here, were complaining about a possibility of there being a 3-way match with Zack and Goto and Takagi for Dominion. It's like, yeah, you haven't been watching New Japan long enough to understand that does not happen.
Well, except that one time, which we don't really want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count because it didn't happen. So, so in that particular estimation, I didn't have any worry there. So, the match was solid, but it wasn't necessarily fantastic. Were there times during the match where I thought that Zack could have had the upper hand? Sure. But that's his job at the end of the day in that match, to make it believable. To make us want to think that he was going to win this match, and Goto was able to pull this one. Well, he wasn't able to pull it out, but he was able to keep his championship more than he was able to retain it, per se, in a winning fashion. So, yeah.
V5, now officially the record, V5. Sonal, what did you think about this one?
I'm probably one of the few people who really like the ending, but this comes more from I'm a very big Goto and a very big Zack Sabre Jr. fan, so it means that I went away happy. Obviously, like, if you're gonna do that you'd want to do like the time limit, but it's 60 minutes, and with the timings on the card, that was not realistic. Neither man's gonna get disqualified because none of them are playing dirty. We had the count out for the television title. Not going to do that. So a double pin. And actually, and this is my take on it, it makes sense the most with what they were doing, because obviously we know Zack is known for his reversals. So obviously it's pin after pin after pin. And really, that would have been the best thing. Again, that's controversial. A lot of people didn't like that. You said it left a sour taste. I personally thought it was fine. But again, with what Jane you said, that is right, is that it keeps Zack in that picture. So if, for example, I mean, I think we mentioned this before, that we kind of think that Shingo is going to win a Dominion, but then we don't know.
I know.
But
I didn't say that. I said Goto. Goto won.
It means, well, with this result, it means that whatever happens, Zack can insert himself, as someone said very, very earlier on, like a forbidden door.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I wouldn't mind that. And this was actually V6, so he has officially broken the record. And V7 will be at Dominion
in how many months? He's broken it.
Yo, like he's had it for about 100 days now. 100 days he's had the title, and he's already at V6.
Workhorse Goto. He was averaging, like, I think someone said it, like every 2 weeks he was having like a title match.
Yeah, because this is the second time. This is the second time he's had 2 defenses in 7 days.
Like, that's insane to me.
Insane rate that he's going on. And Louisville joining us in the chat. He says, GTD got the draws. Yes, we got the draw here. We had to get one draw on this show, so might as well be at this one. Because the main event, there would be no draw, as it was a 3-way matchup for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship. Mercedes Mone defending against STARDOM's Azumi and the newest signing to AEW, Mina Shirakawa. All 3 women locked up early on, with Shirakawa doing her typical antics, making a dance with all 3 women at the same time. She teamed with Azumi to knock Mone out of the ring to continue their count out draw from the last show from Windy City Riot. They started exchanging some intense high-speed action between the 2 Japanese ladies. Shirakawa used her active momentum to swing and throw Mone and Azumi every which way, but Mone escaped. She invoked Eddie Guerrero's spirit with some 3 amigos, using her knees to send Azumi into Shirakawa for a bit. Shirakawa targeted Mone's historically vulnerable knees with absolute flair, looking for the glamorous figure 4 at different points. Azumi demanded control. She was swinging her opponents around. She does La Mystica on Mone, and she adds Shirakawa to the arm for a double Fujiwara armbar on both women. Mone used all of her strength to put both women's shoulders on the mat at another point. Azumi hung her opponents on the middle rope and does a beautiful looking double foot stomp to the mat. She wrestled with Shirakawa in the center of the ring, leaving both open for Mone's backstabber. Bitter to the CEO, both Japanese women started laying in some strikes, leading to a comeback and complete with the Meteora to Azumi. From Mone. She did the same to Shirakawa to break her submission on Azumi. Shirakawa clutched her competitors with a double figure 4 leg lock. I think that's the first time I ever seen anything like that. I've seen the double sharpshooter, double Fujiwara armbar in this one, and now we get a double figure 4. The pair of victims held their hands to withstand the pain and were able to get to the ropes. Azumi overwhelmed Shirakawa and Mone with Azumi sushis. She hits a destroyer at another point, getting a near fall. Adamant to keep Mone out of this, Shirakawa kicked her off of the apron. Then it left both of the Japanese women in the ring. Azumi kept rolling up Shirakawa and looking for the Azumi sushi. She gets the double roll up, the 1-2 on Azumi sushi. Then she rolls her up again with another Azumi sushi. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Shocker here. The most shocking result of the night by far. Azumi becomes your new NJPW Strong Women's Champion here, getting the upset victory, pinning Mina Shirakawa, which means that Mercedes Mone loses one of her 4 belts. No more 4 belts, Mone. 4 belts, Mone is dead, as Azumi becomes the new champion, and what a lineage for this NJPW Strong Women's Championship already. Now, this is the the 2-year anniversary of the first crowning of the NJPW Strong Women's Championship, going with the first champion, Willow Nightingale, to Julia, to Stephanie Vicaire, to Mercedes Mone, and now Azumi. Like, the two women's championships within New Japan Pro Wrestling have a spectacular lineage, because the IWGP Women's Championship is Kairi to Mercedes to Mayu Iwatani to Shuri, and then you got this one with the NJPW Strong Women's Championship. Upset victory from Azumi. She cuts an emotional interview in the post-match. Meanwhile, Mercedes Mone snaps. She crashes out after losing one of her titles, leading to Mina Shirakawa chasing her to the back as they fight to the backstage area and look like they're going to continue their rivalry in AEW. But a huge victory for Azumi. I know plenty of us that have been fans of Azumi have been saying that she's going to win a title in 2025. I just didn't expect it to be this one. I was quite surprised by this result. This matchup started off a little bit clunky after the first feeling out process, but once they got rolling, like the innovative three-way offense and moves like the double Fujiwara armbar, Mercedes pulling out different backstabbers and Meteoras, that bloody cross thing that she does from the tombstone position is always looks vicious. You had the double figure four at another point, and I love, like, all the near falls down the stretch had me on the edge of my seat. This was a great matchup from all three ladies. I give it 4.25 stars. Sonal, what did you think about this matchup and the result with Azumi becoming the new Strong Women's Champion?
I was over the moon that Azumi won. Like, I love her. I think she's amazing. For someone so young, she's absolutely phenomenal. But here's my controversial take. I think Mercedes sort of looked the worst in this match. Like, we mentioned this on the preview. I'm not saying that she's bad, though I do get a bit bored of the Meteoras. There was too many of them. We did mention this because obviously in the preview about like speed and stuff, I genuinely think that Mina and Azumi were the stars of this. Like, I couldn't keep my eyes. They were the ones who were doing like the big moves, you know, like you mentioned the figure four, and when Azumi did the double knees onto them. It was an amazing match. I think we knew that it was going to be a pinning predicament, that if Mercedes lost it, she wasn't getting pinned. And I also liked the ending of obviously Mercedes and Mina. But I'm glad, like, Azumi deserves it. She's absolutely amazing in the ring. She, like, I remember when I watched her in the Wrestle Kingdom when she was challenging for the IWGP title, she really stood out. So it's going to be interesting to see what route they do now. But yeah, I think that it was Mina and Azumi who really stood out in this match.
Jay News, what did you think?
Man, where do I begin? So we had the two women's title changes in New Japan this week, right? Or within
last couple of weeks,
10 days, yeah, or whatever the case is. Mayu left to go to Marigold. Suri's the new champ. Suri immediately takes a challenge to go to the UK. That title's been trapped in Japan for a while. That IWGP Women's Championship was supposed to be an international belt, and it wasn't for the time that Mayu held it. That's that part of it. Now that Mercedes is no longer the superstar or the star with the women's strong belt, we have the mighty Azumi having to understand that she will be doing more U.S. dates, being the strong openweight women's champion. And I think that's a good thing for the Stardom girls, to be quite honest, to be doing these international shows in other countries to get accustomed to other styles of wrestling outside of their own, so shit doesn't get stale for them at the end of the day. That's just something that I wanted to put out there into the world. As for the match itself, I thought it was fine. I'm with Sonal here. I thought that Mercedes, not that she looked out of place, but it's like the speed and or the complexity of moves being put together in between the low spots. Like she lacks behind when it comes to that particular aspect of wrestling with other Japanese women, especially in this case with Mina and Azumi and things of that nature. So that's something, if she wants to, she can work on. If not, then whatever, Mercedes is Mercedes here in the US. So, it is what it is in that regard. Will they continue that feud between Mina and Mercedes going into AEW television? Only time will tell. If people don't know, Mina Shirakawa is signed to AEW, according to reports out there, and we'll see how that all breaks down. There's a bit of confusion for me when it comes to not her signing to AEW, Mina, that is, just understanding as to where they're going to put her. Is she going to be on ROH? Is she going to be on AEW TV? Are they going to ever really finish what she started with Mariah and stuff like that? We don't necessarily know that. Are they automatically going to go into this whole thing with Mercedes, being that Mercedes has to finish this whole Owen Cup tournament thing or whatever the case is? Is she supposed to eventually dethrone Tony, as people think that she's supposed to? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does Mina fall in all this is my question. Azumi, 22 years old, man. I still can't believe that, man. I feel like I've been watching her forever at this point.
Well, she's been in wrestling for a decade. Yeah.
I feel like I've been watching her forever.
12.
There you go. I mean, the girls do start early. Yeah, man, great shot for Azumi here to continue to build her brand over in the States and things of that nature whenever New Japan decides to have their US shows. And they can definitely bring in different talents to go up against Azumi, because they'll all be fresh matches, right? Outside of the girls from Stardom, which she's tirelessly been up against them for the last decade. So it was a good match. Like I said, yeah, Mercedes and Azumi did their thing. I'm not Mercedes, Mina and Azumi did their thing. Not that Mercedes was bad. It was just like, I feel like she was a little bit left behind and whatnot. And obviously her reaction to when she lost the belt, the mouth agape, her being all the way on the other side of the ring. It's like, yeah, you got left behind, baby girl. So that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So we'll see. Maybe this is the start of our CEO losing all the championships that she holds, and maybe going for maybe only having the biggest prize at the company that she's mainly signed to. So we shall see how that all breaks. But yeah,
the downfall of Mercedes may have already begun. We shall see. But I disagree with you guys. I thought Mercedes looked good in here. I think she's always had a different style from the Stardom ladies. The Stardom ladies are going to be more high speed when they're with each other in that ring. And I thought that Mercedes was well to kind of fit in that. It was kind of like she was, to give a comparison to another triple threat, she was Triple H in the Benoit Michaels triple threat from WrestleMania 20. Triple H was not on the same level as Benoit and Michaels in the ring, but he was able to fit in well with them in that matchup, and I thought Mercedes did well to fit in here.
You shouldn't bring that up, man. A lot of people don't remember that match well, but
everyone remembers the match well. They just don't remember one of the people in the match that well. That's the difference. Well, that match was undeniably phenomenal.
And then people always go to the fact that, well, Triple H can't wrestle. He was just That's another issue for the other day.
Well, yeah, I mean, the chop mustache is one of his worst looks. I will say that, and the white boots is one of his worst looks.
He was trying to pay homage to one of his idols and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I want to see as to what Azumi ends up doing with the strong women's championship. Hopefully, they give her good competition, not just stateside, but maybe other international talents as well. Fapolo mentioned Chihiro Hashimoto. That wouldn't be a bad contender for Azumi in the future if they even want to go that route. So,
give me Azumi versus Hazuki on one of these strong shows. It will be the best women's match of the year.
But sure, but I would say they're probably going to have her going off against other U.S. talents as well. So we'll see how that all breaks down. I mean, they did tease the whole thing between her and Bea Priestley
Yeah,
Fourth match?
that should be put the post on social media that was like her little sister when she was in Japan. So
yeah. So I feel like they'll definitely
day part
build
saying
on
that
that.
too.
So we'll see. We'll see how it all breaks down.
Yeah, so probably be B first. I don't. I guess the next considered U.S. or out of Japan show for New Japan would probably be Forbidden Door, right? Because they don't have anything set for June, and then July starts the G1. So I think the next one would be Forbidden Door.
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think they usually defend the New Japan Strong stuff on Forbidden Door, right?
Well, they did last year. It
They
was
did last
champion versus champion, but hey, why not? Well, I have her be Azumi versus one of the. Give me Azumi versus Jamie Hayter, or Azumi versus Chris Statlander. Give me those.
Okay, sure. I can see that. Or Azumi versus Queen Aminata. Give me all of that right there.
That's an episode of Collision, sir.
I love Queen.
That's not Forbidden Door. That's an episode of Collision. I love the Queen to be as well, but let's not put the horse before the cart. But that fellow says Azumi versus Athena. Let's go. Let them go ballistic. I mean, you can sign me up for all of that. Sign me up for all of that.
Yeah, man, for sure.
But we've made it to the end of our review here, so y'all know the deal. Final call for Super Chat donations. Appreciate anyone who sends their support in that way. But of course, you can also let us know your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give this show? For us on the screen, for NJPW's Resurgence 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from all of us. Sonal, out of 10, what did you give this show?
I give it a solid 8. It was very good. I really liked it. There were some moments that obviously, like the tag match, is slightly confusing, but I think it was above average. Again, docked a bit because of it wasn't as enjoyable to watch. But I mean, compared to you guys, I'm not as I won't take the production as much into my scoring things. But I know you guys probably will do that more.
J News, out of 10, what did you give the show?
This show gets a solid 7. All 3 of those points going to the shitty ass production and TJP wearing red pants when he should be wearing green.
Not the red pants.
Outside of that, solid 7. Solid 7.
Yeah, I was leaning towards 7.5 range, but the 2 great matches, I will put it at the solid 7.5. I'll be right in the middle of the both of y'all. 7.5 for me. Like you said, the production is the real kind of nitpick of everything, because I think if the production was better on this show, I would be right there with Sonal at an 8 out of 10. Sonal, though, what was
it's glaring? It's not a nitpick. It was glaring.
Yeah. This time. Usually it's a nitpick in my opinion when you do it, because I've kind of expected this from New Japan Strong at this point, but this was egregious. So yeah, you're right.
It's another level.
This was another level of
raise,
bad production.
Raise the standard, man. Raise the standard. This is enough.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Sonal, who was your MVP for this show?
My MVP was Azumi. I think she was great in it. That she's got the title, and I'm excited to see. And I have a soft spot for her. Again, as everyone will notice, whenever I do this stuff, I go with my heart 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that Azumi has to win the MVP. She got my best of the week on the flagship podcast because of this win, because I am generally not that surprised by results, but I thought that if it was going to be a title change in this matchup, it would be put on Mina, since she's in the U.S. now. But I'm glad that it is Azumi, because that means we're going to see her more in the U.S. So I'm down for it. So Azumi is my MVP. J News?
MVP, unanimous, man. Azumi for me as well. Been a fan of hers for several years now, and now she's got the singles gold to prove that she's one of the top ladies wrestlers around the planet. And like SP3 said, man, I'm definitely anticipating who she gets to mix it up with here in the U.S. So that is something to look forward to in the near future.
J News, who was your LVP for the show?
Greg Carter took it out of my freaking mouth. Rocky Romero, you damn piece of garbage. Don't you ever interfere in a Takeshita match ever again. You understand me? Jesus Christ. Come on, Rocky. You do better. Do better.
Yeah, I can't front. This is gonna be I have to agree with Jade News. It has to be Rocky Romero, not just for the interference in a Takeshita ELP matchup that was going along swimmingly until you got involved, and that was the only main nitpick. This would have been even like a 4.5-star matchup without your interference and involvement at all. Plus, he had to use the table on you when these matchups are always better for their table spots. He had to use it on you. And not only that, he is running New Japan Strong or New Japan of America. So I have to put the blame of production on somebody. It would be Rocky Romero.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd say Rocky, but I feel like you guys have dealt with it. I'm going to say TJP for making things so damn freaking awkward. Just don't make things awkward, man.
Dob Pello sends a super chat donation for us. Thank you so much, Dob Pello. Appreciate the support so much. He also notes, he says, a super chat for women main eventing a 4th NJPW pay-per-view. Hopefully this trend continues, even if Mercedes isn't in the matchup. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like Mercedes was the top draw for this show, so it wasn't even like it was that like I was surprised when the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was not in the main event. But then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, Mercedes has been kind of on the poster and the biggest star promoted for this show. So if this show did well attendance-wise, it would be on Mercedes. So it made sense for Mercedes to be in the main event. It made sense when she was in the main event for the show back in December as well. So, like, yeah, I'm not too sure anybody else as strong women's champion. Unless it's Mercedes versus Azumi one-on-one, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Respect, though. Thank you for the super chat donation. And Sonal, what was your match of the night?
Putting aside a little man who got thrown in the table, it was ELP versus Takeshita. I love them. Like even Rocky's goddamn interference can't stop how good those two are in the ring.
Agreed there. J News, your match of the night?
Same, man. When ELP and Takeshita are on the screen together, definitely can't take your eyes off of it, man. So shout outs to both of those good brothers, and hopefully we get another one of their matches down the road. Like I said earlier in the recording, hopefully for something at bigger stakes when it comes to both of those guys. So
I'm hoping we see it in the G1 because I think if you put that back in Kurgan all this year, it will be another match of the year candidate. But I'm actually going to go different from y'all for the match of the night. I'm going to give it to the main event. I gave both match 4 1/4, and I just this match didn't have the glaring thing of like Rocky getting involved in it. So I will give it to. It didn't have Rocky Romero involved in it, so I'm going to give it to Azumi versus Mina versus Mercedes for the match of the night. But that brings us to a close on another pay-per-view review talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We will, of course, be back to talk some more about New Japan Pro Wrestling at the end of the Best of Super Juniors tournament. So we'll see you all at the beginning of June. Sonal, we want to thank you as always. Of course, J News, thank you as always. And all of you, thank you so much for supporting our content here, talking about NJPW. Sonal, I want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on your podcast and your channel. Let the world know.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, Sonal's Life. I posted a very rare WWE video that was obviously looking at Jeff Cobb's debut. So I post randomly. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, I posted like 9 times. So it's not always going to be like that. But I'm going to be there with reviews, previews, special videos. And make sure to follow me on my social media. So it's wrestling_chat, where you will get live tweets during a lot of the best Super Junior shows and just random stuff. I mean, I got a surge of followers like in the last 24 hours. And I don't know whether it was because of my Jeff Cobb video or because I'm tweeting about being chronically single. So if you just want really random tweets like that, make sure to follow me. You know, it's true. That tweet got over like 115 likes, and I was like, where have you all come from?
That's hilarious. Jay News, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, good sir.
Yeah, I've got nothing to say on that there, Sonal. So be careful on that, please. Just be careful. As for me, folks, you can always catch me every Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Roast podcast with the lovely Dolores. I wasn't there yesterday due to some personal issues that I had to take care of, but we will be live again on Sunday. This Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, offshoot because Dolores has to do something early in the afternoon. But every Sunday, Hit the Roast podcast, you can catch that on our respective YouTube channels. You can also catch the podcast itself wherever you find your podcast. And as usual, you can see me here on True Heel Heat, reviewing and previewing everything that has to do with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And in between time, I'll do some AEW shouts when needed. So, yeah.
There we go. We always appreciate you for that, good sir. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat, $3 a month. Best way to support us when we are not live here. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 328 from this past weekend, where we went in depth about WWE AEW tribalism off the back of the Ricochet Javon Evans drama and Will Ospreay's comments on WWE this past week, plus Willow Nightingale's contract year. We talked all about it, so check out the flagship. Top Guy JJ made a guest appearance. The True Draw Josh and Miss Christy Love were, of course, there as well. Me and the True Draw Josh also reviewed WWE Backlash 2025, so we talked all about Jeff Cobb's debut, as well as the John Cena versus Randy Orton Planet Jarrett matchup Overbooked Mania. We talked all about it in depth, so go over and check that out as well. I will be back tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, with Rated Raw Review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw. I will see who's going to be there with me. Romeo's going to be out, but I will be joined by somebody. I'll figure it out. But thank you so much to Sonal, J News. Thank you to all of you for joining us live. Appreciate your watching us on demand. Remember to drop the thumbs up, comment down below, and let us know what you thought about NJPW Resurgence 2025. But until next time, this has been our NJPW Resurgence 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.